everyone, today we're going to be doing my monthly wrap up, which is going to be for August. In August I read 11 books, which is pretty good. It's one of my best reading months. I'm very happy with it, and I feel like I read a lot of good books. My name is Andrew. If you don't know me, you should subscribe and stick around because we have a lot of fun here. But I'm going to jump right into these books and show you guys what I read. First thing was Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. It was a reread for me. I feel like I give all the Throne of Glass books 5 stars because I reread them all the time, so I clearly love them. This is my mini copy. I have the regular paperback and I have the hardcovers, and I have these mini Throne of Glass character collection ones as well. I also read Graceling by Kristen Cashore, which is an old book. It came out in like 2008 or something like that. I don't even know what I was doing in 2008, but I didn't read this at the time and I was missing out because this book is so good. It's about Katza. She was born with a certain ability. She's super deadly. She can kill anybody. She's a total badass, and her uncle has been using her for those abilities. Well, she decides she's not going to put up with her uncle anymore. She wants to live her own life, do her own thing, and she escapes from him, and she goes on this journey with a Prince Poe, who is just the best character ever. He is somebody I cannot believe I have lived without knowing for so long because I love Poe. He is the sweetest cinnamon roll assassin character ever. Like, he is also has his own abilities going on and a lot of his own things. So the two of them have this journey throughout pretty much the whole entire book. And what's really interesting is this series has other books, but they're not about the same characters. So this is almost a standalone where their journey comes full circle and it completes in one book. If you like those kind of fantasies, I'd recommend this. It was so good, and I know it's a young adult, but I still feel like it didn't read too immature. It read just perfect for me, and I really loved it. Okay, I also read Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. This is the second book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. It is the sequel to The Fine Print, and I really did enjoy the first book. I really enjoyed this one. In this one, Declan, he is going to be the next CEO of Dreamland, which is like Disney World in this book. And the only thing that he has to do is get married and have a baby before he can become CEO, because his grandfather left that in his will, that before he can be CEO and inherit any money or anything like that, he needed to find a woman to marry and have a baby. So obviously this is a romance. It's one of those books that has a more of a meanish, roguish main boy character. Declan hates love. He doesn't want to be with anybody. He vows to like never be in love until Iris, who is his assistant, she ends up becoming the person he's gonna marry, which is like a scam marriage basically to get his inheritance, and she steps up to the plate. The whole book is about them going through and trying to be a married couple and figuring out how that's going to work and figuring out any real feelings that they may be harboring for each other, even though they also kind of hate each other. I had another reread. It was If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I absolutely love this book. I recommend it to everyone. If you want a sad romance, this is where it's at. This one I feel like was hyped up a lot on Book Talk, and it's one of the few Book Talk books that I feel live up to the hype. And I don't know why. I think I just love a good tragedy. I have no idea why. I need to see a therapist and figure out the root of that. But I really did enjoy this book enough to read it twice in 1 year. So I've talked about it before. It's about Autumn and Finn. They are childhood best friends. They grow up together. They live right next to each other. Their moms are best friends, and they are together on holidays and all this stuff until they have a basically a friendship fallout, and they aren't friends in high school. And the book spans their 4 years of high school from freshman to senior and when they graduate, but we're mostly just in Autumn's point of view. Like, Finn is in there a lot, but it's from Autumn's POV, and it's a 5-star. It's so good. It's so sad. It's just like the way the characters care for each other is what gets it for me every time, and it's such a banger. But there is a sequel coming out. This book came out a long time ago as well. Like, this is an old book, like, I don't know, 2014 maybe. but there's a sequel finally coming out, and it's this book from Finn's point of view, and I am literally going to combust when I get that in my hands. It was supposed to come out in this October, but it's not coming out anymore. It got pushed back to next year. And when it was coming out in October, it was like a birthday gift to me, but it's not anymore, so I'm sad, but I can't wait for that sequel. I have a sticky note of some books that I read that I don't actually own the physical copies of, but the first one was The Library of Shadows by Rachel Moore. I gave this one 3.75 stars. I read this as an ARC. Thank you to the publisher for giving it to me. But that book, it was pretty much what it was promised. So it's about this girl whose dad went to this like prestigious boarding school, and he's passed away, and so she's going to the school to feel more connected to her father. And when she's there, she discovers there is like a lot of lore about this school and about some untimely deaths of previous students from a long time ago. It's supposed to be haunted and all this stuff. And yes, there are ghosts in the book, and they are very real characters and prominent characters, which was enjoyable. The male main character slash love interest is a ghost, and all of that is exciting. It is what you would expect. It's a perfect autumn spooky read. I definitely think that it should be on everybody's fall TBRs. But the reason I gave it 3.75 is because I feel like the author didn't go into as much of the story as she could. Like, it was just a very surface level book. And I mean, it was solid, it was good. It just didn't go into as much as I would have liked in terms of the character and the side characters. Like, the main character had a really close friend, and she was just kind of like one of those filler characters, just like there just because. And I didn't really like that. So I guess I wish the book and world was more fleshed out, because it was very kind of flat. But I still think it was enjoyable, and that like a lot of people could love it, and that it is worth the read. Okay, then I read Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. I DNF'd it about, I think maybe like 30%, 40% of the way through. I really tried to go through it and get to it, but I just did not enjoy it. I listened to it on Scribd for the audiobook, and maybe that's why I didn't like it. But I gave it 2 stars because a general rule of mine is when I DNF, I give it 2 stars. Unless I absolutely hate it, then I give it 1. But I gave it 2 stars, and the rating on Goodreads is collectively pretty low. So a lot of people weren't liking it, which I'm very surprised. I loved Fell Lady Fortune. I was really hoping to, you know, love Immortal Longings because it was Chloe's first adult book, but it just did not hit. It was just kind of a mess, like a big mess. And it was not an interesting mess. It wasn't fun chaos. It was just like, what am I reading? What are we doing? And why is this so wordy? Yet I still feel nothing for the characters, and I know nothing about them. And also, I didn't like the way that the action was described and how they did things. And I don't know, the writing style, it was a big red flag for me, and something that I did not enjoy from Chloe this time around. So I also read Fragile Threads of Power by V. Schwab, which is an ARC. It's coming out on September 26th. I gave it 5 stars. It is a continuation to the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I think it's called Shades of Magic series, my bad. It's a continuation of that. So there's the 3 books from there, and now we are having a couple more books in the Fragile Threads of Power. And we get to see Lila and Kel again, and I don't want to give away too much, of course, but we are also following a new set of characters, and the majority of the book there is different point of views who are all working towards the same goal. Like, it's one of those books. And our old friendly faces, Kel and Lila, get dragged into this as well. I'm not gonna lie, it was just such a fun world, such a fun story, and V.E. Schwab knows how to write the magic, she knows how to write the danger, she knows how to write just beautiful descriptions of the place. Like, reading the book felt like I was just going back into a Darker Shade of Magic just immediately. Like, it felt like visiting an old friend's house. That's how it felt, especially with Kel and Lila, and the new characters as well. I do like them too, so definitely recommend. Go read Fragile Thread of Powers. I also read Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This one is a romance. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite romance. I don't think anything will ever top the Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams, because that book was so good, and I've been chasing the high that I felt when I read that book by Sarah Adams, and I haven't found it again. But this one is about a girl whose name is Annie. She is like the sunshine girl. She owns a flower shop and everybody kind of looks at her 'cause she's a little sister. They look at her like she's childish and like she's not, you know, on their level in terms of like being in relationships and having fun and being spontaneous and adventurous. She's just like the little sister that stays home. And then we have Will, who is a bodyguard for famous people, and he has tattoos and he's like the bad guy, the bad boy, and he is working for Annie's sister, so he is forced into closer proximity with Annie. Right off the bat, he just has a connection with her and he likes her, but he also has vowed to never love anyone and he's never going to be in a relationship. He's not that kind of guy. He's not going to settle down. He needs to be free because he has his own baggage and his own issues, and so does Annie. And so throughout the book they end up fake dating so that Annie can learn the ropes of being in a relationship, and so he is basically her practice boyfriend. I will say it wasn't boring and I did find myself wanting to pick it up and know what was happening next. It just didn't give me all of those super big butterfly feelings, and like I love them so much and their love story is so great. It was just kind of mid, but I'm not mad that I read it. I'm okay with it. I'm at peace with the story. I do like Annie and I do like Will, so that was okay. Also, it has fade to black. It doesn't have smut, so if that's something you like, this is good for you. If that's something you don't like in your romance novels, you might not enjoy it. And this was a sequel. The first one is called When in Rome, but I didn't know that. I didn't know it was a sequel, so here I am. And I might read the first one because people say that it's really good and it's better than Practice Makes Perfect, so I might like that one more. Moving along, I read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I just read this one and it is so good. I gave it 5 stars. It is about 2 journalists who work at the same newspaper job, and they are fighting to get the one columnist position. The main character's name is Iris and the other one is Kit. We do get dual POV, which I loved. They have this rivalry going on at work, and Iris is also dealing with the fact that her mother has some alcoholic issues. Her brother had to go to war and signed up to go to war and left her, and so she copes with this by writing on her typewriter letters to what she hopes is her brother, hoping they'll get to him somehow. It's a magic typewriter. There is some magic and gods in this book, but the letters are not going to her brother and instead they're going to her rival, unbeknownst to her. When Kit gets them, he replies, but he doesn't tell her that it's him writing, but he knows that it's Iris. So there is going to be some conflict with that, and just the whole war going on between different gods. There's that kind of lore in here, which is really interesting. And I feel like I can't properly say how good this book is, but it's Iris and Kit and their chemistry, the tension, the way that they're rivals, the way that the story flows. I really loved a lot of quotes in here, and the writing style like hit it out of the park for me. Like everything about this book is just the complete package. It's just so good, and I cannot wait for the next one. I think it comes out in November or December, and the way this book leaves off, I need it. I need it like water. I need it so bad. I need to know what happens to the characters. That's all I'm gonna say, but I am distraught. Okay, last 2 books that I read in August. Dark Age by Pierce Brown, and this is a nerdy ink dust jacket on here. I read this for the first time. I've read Red Rising countless times, but I never got up to Dark Age because I was waiting to read it before Light Bringer came out. So now I finally read it, and I have never read a book that took me through so much turmoil more than Dark Age. It is called Dark Age for a reason. People are dying left and right. There's just bad stuff happening to everyone. How fun does that sound? And if you've read Dark Age and you know and you got through this, like, we have a connection because it takes a strong person to get through Dark Age. Not everybody makes it to Dark Age, okay? Not everybody makes it through. And it is insane, but it is so good. And I give props to Pierce Brown because to write something like this is so genius, and his craft is out of this world. Like, it is amazing. There's just no doubt about it. So then I read Lightbringer also because it just came out in July, but I didn't actually finish it until August. Lightbringer was kind of the light at the end of the tunnel from Dark Age, and I guess you could tell from the title that it was going to be a little bit more happy, and it's not even that it was happy, it was just less sad and depressing than Dark Age. But still, the way that Pierce writes, the way that he creates the world and the characters and has drawn out this story and this journey of Darrow, it's honestly everything to me, and it's so special to be able to read about Darrow and just have this world continuing. And I'm just here for it. I'm here for the journey. I'm here for all of these characters. I'm gonna see them through to the end. I don't know when we're getting the next one, Red God, because it took Pierce 4 years to write Lightbringer, and I get it. I get why. Like, this is a masterpiece. So this was also a masterpiece. It was just sad. But Pierce, you take your time, okay? I will reread all the other books until you are ready for Red God, and then I'll be ready when you're ready. I will wait. Okay, I tried to keep that short, but I feel like talking about 11 books and getting through all of that is not going to be short, so sorry. But that's all the books that I've read. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below what some of your favorite reads from August were, or if you've read any of these. Also down below are some ways you can help support the channel. I also have my social media if you want to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, anything like that. But that's going to be it, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!